Hello and welcome to StudGenie classes. In the last video, we discussed about the amending powers of Parliament and regarding how the Constitution of India gets amended. While discussing regarding amending Indian Constitution, we came across the term the basic structure. The basic structure. I told you while discussing about the last topic that Parliament can amend the Constitution in whichever way it likes, but it cannot touch or tinker with the basic structure of the Constitution. So what is the basic structure? Has it been defined anywhere in the Constitution itself? So these are some of the questions which might be coming to your mind as a viewer. So what are the basic structures? We will deal with it, but basic structure, you can say it that basic structure is nothing but judicial interpretation of the Constitution of India. Judicial interpretation of the Constitution of India can be termed one of the definitions of basic structure, or you can tell it is one of the features, because basic structure has been formulated by the Supreme Court. It is therefore also known as judicial innovation. It is also known as judicial innovation. We will discuss how Supreme Court came to basic structure, doctrine of basic structure. We will deal with it. It is a long story, a long power tussle between the legislative and the judiciary, and at last the judiciary came up with the judicial innovation, the doctrine of basic structure. We will discuss that elaborately. And if you will ask, is the doctrine of basic structure that has been formulated is a final document, is a complete document, then I will say you no. Basic structure is evolving in nature. It is still evolving. Till now, some of the features have been added as basic structure, but it is still not complete. It is still evolving. Maybe tomorrow or day after tomorrow, Supreme Court might declare any other feature present in the Constitution as the basic structure of the Constitution. So it is continuously evolving in nature. So within 1 year of the Constitution coming into being, the first constitutional amendment took place, abolishing right to property. Right to property was abolished by the first Constitutional Amendment Act. In challenging this thing that can the Parliament amend fundamental rights present in the Constitution, Sankari Prasad filed a case against Union of India in 1951, that is known as Sankari Prasad versus Union of India 1951. Why does this case come up? This case argued that can Parliament amend the fundamental right present in the Constitution, because in Article 13, Clause 2, a provision has been made that no law can be made by the Parliament in order to amend the fundamental rights of the Constitution. So Supreme Court had this case. Supreme Court had it, and Supreme Court observed that no law it's okay. Yeah, we agree that no law can amend the fundamental rights present in the Constitution of India under Article 13, Clause 2. But here law means only ordinary laws. Supreme Court interpreted this law as only ordinary laws, and it's observed that this law does not mean to constitutional amendments. And Supreme Court observed that fundamental rights can be amended by bringing constitutional amendments, but fundamental rights cannot be amended through ordinary laws. So it was a Supreme Court's observation in Sankari Prasad case regarding the laws given under Article 13, Clause 2. So from Sankari Prasad till Sajjan Singh case of 1965, it was Sajjan Singh versus State of Rajasthan. Sajjan Singh case of 1965, Honorable Supreme Court held that Parliament has the power to amend the fundamental rights of the Constitution as well. But in the Golaknath case, in the Golaknath versus State of Punjab case 1965, the Supreme Court reversed its previous observations, and held that constitutional amendment law is also an ordinary law. And it comes under the laws mentioned in Article 13, Clause 2 of the Indian Constitution. Hence, constitutional amendments cannot be done for fundamental rights. Parliament has no power to amend fundamental rights as per Article 13, Clause 2, because Supreme Court in Golaknath case of 1967 reversed its previous observations and held that constitutional amendment law is also similar to an ordinary law, and hence it would not be given a special treatment, and you cannot amend fundamental rights through constitutional amendments. Now, as expected, legislature will react, Parliament reacted, Parliament has to react because Supreme Court has taken some of its powers. So Parliament reacted. How it reacted? Let's look at it. So now Parliament reacted to the judgment of Supreme Court provided in the Golaknath versus Union of India case of 1967, Golaknath versus State of Punjab case 1967. Parliament reacted through 24th Constitutional Amendment Act brought in 1971. Parliament amended Articles 13 and Article 368. Article 13 and Article 368 were amended through the 24th Constitutional Amendment Act of 1971. This declared that Parliament has the power to abridge or take away any of the fundamental rights under Article 368. We have discussed in the earlier video that Article 368 deals with amending the Constitution. So, under powers granted under Article 368, Parliament contains the power or has the power to abridge or take away any of the fundamental rights, and that would not fall under the meaning of the law as provided in Article 13, Clause 2. It would not be counted as that law. In Article 13 Clause 2, the word law, it would not be counted under this, and it would be Parliament can amend anything like any of the fundamental rights under Article 368. Now, after this amendment, that is the 24th Constitutional Amendment Act of 1971, another interesting thing happens and basic structure now will come into force. That is, the Kesavananda Bharati case will come into forefront and Supreme Court will come with the doctrine of basic structure. Let's take this. So, after the 24th Constitutional Amendment Act was passed in 1971, Kesavananda Bharati versus State of Kerala case came up before Supreme Court. While passing the judgment of Kesavananda Bharati case in 1973, the Supreme Court upheld the legality of the 24th Constitutional Amendment Act, legality or validity of 24th Constitutional Amendment Act. Supreme Court said that it is completely legal and 24th Constitutional Amendment Act empowering the Parliament to amend the Constitution, even abridging or taking away the fundamental rights, is completely fine. The court has no problem or no objection to this provision of the 24th Constitutional Amendment Act. But we are coming up, the court observed, the Supreme Court said that Supreme Court came up with finally the doctrine of basic structure of Constitution. Supreme Court came up with doctrine of basic structure. Supreme Court said it's completely fine, we don't have any problems with the Parliament. Parliament has enough power by 24th Constitutional Amendment Act to amend every section of fundamental rights, every section present in the Constitution of India, but Parliament cannot amend the basic structure of the Constitution. The moment Parliament tries to amend the basic structure of the Constitution, that would not be constitutional in nature. It would be unconstitutional and it should be struck down. So now question arises, who will decide this basic structure? Who will decide the basic structure of the Constitution? Supreme Court said basic structure of the Constitution will only be decided by the judiciary. We will decide what to be included in the basic structure and what not to be included in the basic structure. And till date, as I have mentioned in the beginning, basic structure of the Constitution is continuously evolving in nature. We don't know whenever, tomorrow or day after tomorrow or any day, Supreme Court might come up that this feature of the Constitution is considered as a basic feature of the Constitution. So, and once a feature falls under the basic structure, doctrine of basic structure, Parliament has no rights to amend that feature. So, the Kesavananda Bharati case of 1973 becomes very, very important from your prelims perspective as well as from your mains perspective. So after this, as expected, again the Parliament will react, and how it will be tackled by the Supreme Court, we will have a. So as expected, Parliament reacted. Legislative reacted with the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act brought in 1976. This act it amended Article 368 once again. Which one before? Which Constitutional Amendment Act had amended? 24th Constitutional Amendment Act had amended Article 368 and Article 13. Now, 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act brought in 1976 once again amended Article 368. And Parliament declared that there is no limitation on the constituent power of the Parliament, and amendment of any of the fundamental rights or abrogation or amendments regarding abrogation of any of the fundamental rights cannot be questioned in any court in India. So Parliament gave itself superpower. Like, we will amend any of the fundamental rights, anything present in the Constitution of India, and those amendments cannot be challenged in any of the courts present inside India, including the Supreme Court. Nobody can challenge to constitutional amendments brought by Parliament. So Parliament made itself a superpower. So again here, judiciary will interfere. That, boss, you are not doing the right thing. You are not doing the right thing. The executive, the legislative, and the judiciary share equal power. You cannot term yourself as a superpower. So look how the Supreme Court stepped in to nullify this amendment. Now, after the passage of the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act in 1976, Supreme Court provided its observation in the Minerva Mills case of 1980. Supreme Court observed that for the provision in the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act providing that nobody can challenge abrogation of any of the fundamental rights by amending the Constitution in any of the court became invalidated by Supreme Court. Supreme Court observed that how can you do it? You have no power, because Supreme Court again said that doctrine of basic structure, once again, Supreme Court said that challenging the constitutionality of a law in any court is part of judicial review. It is considered a judicial review, and this judicial review is part of basic structure of Constitution. So you cannot touch, you can amend anything, but you cannot touch the basic structure of Constitution. So how can you amend the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act? So this provision in the Constitution 42nd Amendment Act nullifying the challenging capacity of any amendment was struck down. Supreme Court said no, you cannot amend basic structure, and we said that Supreme Court said that judicial review is a part of basic structure, hence you cannot change that. It would be present. Further, in the Vaman Rao case, later on in the Vaman Rao case, Supreme Court clarified that from 24th April 1973, no constitutional amendments that are enacted after this date, 24th April 1973, could amend the basic structure. Why this date? Because on 24th April 1973, the doctrine of basic structure was innovated by the Supreme Court. The judgment of the Keswananda Bharati versus State of Kerala case was given by Supreme Court on this date. Hence, from this date, any constitutional amendment act that is to be enacted it cannot violate the doctrine of basic structure. Further, in the Minerva Mills case, Supreme Court had one more observation. Supreme Court observed that since the Constitution of India had enforced a limited power upon you, here you addressing to the Parliament, since the Constitution of India has enforced a limited power upon the Parliament through Article 368, Parliament cannot use that limited power to enlarge the scope of that power into an absolute power. Supreme Court said that you have been granted a very limited power regarding amendments to the Constitution through Article 368. You cannot utilize that limited power and limited scope granted to you in order to enlarge that limited power itself to an absolute power. So with this, Supreme Court stood firm with the doctrine of basic structure. So I hope you guys understood it. Now we will look at some of the features that are till date have been made a part of the doctrine of basic structure. So what are the list of basic features? We will take a look at some. You can read it from your book, okay, from your book, that is M. Laxmikant, as I have mentioned earlier. Follow M. Laxmikant, it is Bible of Indian Polity. Supremacy of Constitution. Supremacy of Constitution is a basic feature of Indian Constitution. Rule of law. Rule of law is also another part of basic feature of Constitution. Separation of powers between center and state. Separation of executive powers between center and state. Further, Article 32 and 226. Do you know what is Article 32 and Article 226 contains? Article 32 deals with Supreme Court. Article 226 deals with High Court. We will read about Indian judiciary in detail in our live sessions. To visit our live classes, please log on to our website. The link has been provided in the description box below. Find the link and log on to our website, subscribe to our live classes and avail the full benefits of studying complete Indian polity. Further, federalism, secularism, access to justice, these are all parts of basic features. The list has some more features also in it. You can have a look, you can read them and you need to memorize them. So through these things, from the case in 1951, from the Sankari Prasad versus Union of India case till the Minerva Mills case, the doctrine of basic structure kept on forming and it came to its final shape in the Keshavananda Bharati case. In fact, it got innovated in the Keshavananda Bharati case, and from then on the doctrine of basic structure of Indian Constitution is evolving. If you like this video, if you find this video informative and useful towards your UPSC preparations, please like this video, subscribe to our channel and share this video among your friends and colleagues. Further, if you want to avail the full benefit of reading Indian polity with us, you can log on to our website, the link of which has been provided in the description box below. You can log on to the website, subscribe to our live classes and enjoy reading Indian polity, complete Indian polity with us with around 50 hours of live classes complete Indian polity will be imparted to you.